Hi, I'm Emma, a 20-year-old college student from New York. My family went through some big changes. My parents split when I was 14, and I've been living with my mom since then. Last year, my dad, who I was really close to, passed away from cancer. He left me a lot of money in his will, but I couldn't get it until I turned 20. Well, guess what? I finally hit that age, and soon after, something amazing happened. One day, my stepdad Justin, who's in his mid-30s and has been married to my mom for 6 years, asked for a chat. Our relationship has always been a bit rocky. I try to keep things cool, but he hasn't always been nice to me. He started the conversation with a serious topic. He suggested that I give the money my dad left me to my stepbrother Michael for his college costs. Justin thought Michael needed the money more, and it seemed fair to him that I help out. I was surprised by his request. The thought of giving away my dad's money didn't sit well with me. I tried to tell Justin that this inheritance was meant for me, and it was important to keep it for my future, but Justin didn't understand. He said I didn't need the money and that Michael needed it more. Despite his push, I stuck to my guns. I calmly explained that refusing wasn't disrespecting him. It was about honoring my dad's wishes and keeping my boundaries. Justin got upset and tried to scare me, but I stayed firm in my decision. It was a tough talk, but I knew I had to stand up for what I believed in. I stayed strong, telling Justin that if he was upset with my decision, he might want to rethink his approach. Justin, remember, we're all part of this family, so let's keep things respectful, I said, hoping for a peaceful solution. But it seemed like that wasn't going to happen. I decided to end the conversation there, leaving before he could say anything. Justin's reaction didn't surprise me, given his past actions. I had a feeling he might try to take the inheritance money for himself someday. As for my mom's role, it's complicated. She seems to overlook Justin's flaws, maybe because she loves him so much. I didn't want to upset her by constantly arguing with Justin, so I've tried to keep the peace. It's strange being one of the youngest, but feeling like I have to be the most responsible. During this tough time, my mom Mary was out of town, which meant she couldn't step in to help. If she had been there, she would have been really angry. Justin saw her absence as a chance to push me around, thinking I wouldn't stand up to him. As I walked away from our argument, Justin followed, yelling at me and calling me a bad sister for not giving the inheritance to Michael. But it wasn't about not wanting to help, it was about sticking to what was fair. Justin and Michael seemed to act more like characters from a cartoon than family, with their antics resembling something out of Pinky and the Brain. Even as I tried to move on, Justin wouldn't let it go. He kept insisting I do what he wanted, bringing Michael into it to back him up. Michael joined in, half awake and confused until Justin reminded him why they wanted the money. First, it was for a business, then suddenly it was for Michael's tuition. Their story didn't add up, and it was clear they were just trying to manipulate me into giving up what was rightfully mine. I just woke up, so I'm a bit fuzzy, Michael muttered, trying to make sense of things. Yeah, I need the money for this university I'm considering. His attempt to justify using the inheritance for his education wasn't very convincing. I firmly said no, which led to protests from both him and Justin. Why not, Emma? He's clear about what he needs, Justin insisted, saying they deserve the money. We'll see about that, I replied, feeling the tension rise. Justin's usual antics were harmless, but this attempt to manipulate me out of my inheritance showed a new level of selfishness and immaturity. I decided not to involve my mom just yet, wanting to handle it myself, especially after learning more about their shady intentions. Emma, quit acting like a child. It's time to be mature and do what's right, Justin scolded, insisting that handing over my inheritance was the adult thing to do. His reasoning didn't make sense to me. And what, Justin? The right thing is to give up my inheritance just because you say so. I questioned, his reluctance to involve my mom making me even more suspicious. Why shouldn't I tell her? She deserves to know what's going on in her own home. Justin's urgency to keep my mom out of it, along with his unusually stern tone, only strengthened my determination. Something wasn't adding up, especially with Michael's supposed business venture. It was clear they underestimated my awareness of their tactics, and Justin's insistence on keeping things from my mom raised a big red flag. I got in touch with my mom as soon as I could. Hey Mom, how's everything going? I asked, trying to sense her mood. I'm okay, dear. And you? She replied. I hesitated, knowing what I was about to say might stir things up. Not so good, Mom, I admitted. Something's off with Justin and Michael, especially Justin. He's been acting really weird. Instead of taking my concerns seriously, my mom warned me not to let my imagination run wild. "Oh, Emma, don't let yourself get worked up," she said, but it was too late for me to just brush it off. Everything seemed to point to more than just a misunderstanding or me being paranoid. Knowing my mom might struggle to believe what I was about to say about Justin, I persisted, determined to make her see what was really going on. "Mom, I understand your feelings for him, but Justin went too far. He didn't just ask for the inheritance money. He demanded it for Michael, saying it was for education. Something feels off, and he even got aggressive when I mentioned bringing it up to you," I explained, my determination growing despite her doubts. My mom hesitated, torn between her emotions and the troubling accusations against the man she cared for. "I'm struggling to believe this, Emma. We need more evidence to understand it all," she said. "Don't worry, Mom. I'll find the proof," I reassured her, even though she wasn't fully convinced. The thought that Justin might have manipulated her troubled me, but I knew I needed solid evidence to uncover his true intentions. That night, I searched the family computer for clues. Luck was on my side when I found Justin's email account open. What I discovered was shocking. Emails between Justin and a woman named Martha revealed deceit. These messages hinted at an affair and discussed plans for divorce and a future fueled by money from a questionable business venture. Justin might have been careful not to discuss anything illegal, but his betrayal was clear. With this information in hand and a determination to uncover more, I decided to talk to Michael, hoping he might accidentally reveal more about their plans. I started a casual conversation with him, secretly recording our chat on my phone. "Hey, Michael," I greeted him, pretending to be cheerful. "Hi, Emma," he replied, seeming happy. "You seem in a good mood today." "Why wouldn't I be? It's a beautiful day," I said, steering the conversation to learn more about Justin's schemes and how they affected my family. Approaching Michael with curiosity, I pretended to consider the request for the inheritance money. "I've been thinking about what you and Justin said. I'm actually thinking about giving you the money for college," I said, watching his reaction closely. "Really? That's great. I'll tell him right away," Michael said, clearly excited. "Not so fast. Before anything happens, I need to be sure. This money is strictly for your college fees, right?" I asked, trying to gauge his sincerity. "Yes, definitely for my college fees." Michael stuttered a bit, seeming caught off guard by my questions. "And you're certain? What about Martha? Is she on board too?" I pressed, mentioning the name I found in Justin's emails. "Martha? Who's Martha?" Michael stumbled, confusion flickering across his face. She's a college advisor," he quickly improvised, but it was too late. Unbeknownst to us, Justin had entered the room silently, and his presence was imposing. "I don't appreciate you interrogating my son like this," he interrupted, his tone stern. "I was simply asking about the purpose of my inheritance. If I'm thinking about giving it away, I want to be sure it's for a valid reason," I explained, trying to stay calm. Justin's reply was sharp. "Once you hand over the money, it's no longer your concern. It's none of your business." His boldness left me stunned, especially when he followed it with a threat. "You're not just considering giving us the money, you will give it to us, or you'll be out of this house." Michael looked as surprised as I felt by his father's sudden aggression. "Dad, this isn't what we talked about," he started, only for Justin to interrupt, asserting his authority with a forceful tone, threatening my place in the house if I didn't comply with his demands. Opting for silence, I withdrew to my room, quietly recording the entire confrontation. Justin remained oblivious to the fact that his true character was being documented. Once safely in my room, I began gathering all the evidence against him. It felt like I was a detective in one of those crime dramas, piecing together clues. I had audio recordings and email screenshots, all revealing Justin's deceit and his affair with Martha. As the weight of my discoveries settled on me, I knew it was time to involve my mom. "Mom," I began, my voice tinged with urgency. "Hey, honey, how are you?" she replied, unaware of the storm brewing. "Mom, are you sitting down? I need to tell you something important, and it's not easy," I said, preparing her for the revelations. Breaking the news to her was difficult. I started by sharing the unsettling things I had uncovered. At first, she found it hard to believe. But when I played the recording of my conversation with Justin, her denial began to fade, replaced by shock and sadness. Why would he do such things? How could he be so cruel? She asked, her voice trembling with emotion. It's hard to understand, but we're dealing with someone who doesn't have our best interests at heart. I replied gently, trying to offer support despite the painful truth. As much as it hurts, he's not the person we thought he was. Hearing the truth directly from the recording was a turning point for her. This is unacceptable. I can't believe I wasn't here to protect you from them, she declared, determination replacing her initial shock. Stay where you are. I'm coming back right away. And yes, I've locked my door, I assured her. My mom's protective instincts kicked in, and she was ready to confront Justin and ensure he faced the consequences. He's going to regret ever messing with our family, she vowed, her voice filled with resolve. When she arrived, it was a moment of mixed emotions. We embraced tightly, shedding tears over the betrayal and the challenges ahead. But there was also a sense of relief and solidarity. Together, we spent hours plotting our next steps, prepared to face the situation as a united front. In the following days, Justin was puzzled by my mom's sudden return and her icy demeanor toward him. He tried to mask it with false cheerfulness, hoping to charm his way out of suspicion. But my mom saw right through his facade and was gearing up to take decisive action. Worried about Justin's shady business dealings and a potential misuse of the inheritance, my mom decided it was time to bring in some professional help. She hired a private investigator to look into Justin's activities and the mysterious emails. The idea of him planning to misuse the money for unethical reasons made her furious, and she was determined to protect us from his deceit. The private investigator's discoveries confirmed our worst suspicions and revealed more about Justin's scheming. My mom filled me in on the details, and together we prepared for what came next. It was clear that this wasn't just a family disagreement. It was about standing up to manipulation and making sure justice was served. In that moment, there was tension in the air, a mix of disbelief and determination hanging between us. Justin's usual confidence seemed to waver as we confronted him, his eyes darting around as if searching for a way out. You can't possibly understand what you're talking about. This is absurd, Justin attempted to deflect, but his voice lacked its usual confidence. It was evident that the tables had turned and the power he once held so effortlessly was slipping away. Caught in the midst of this family turmoil, Michael glanced from his father to us, his expression a blend of confusion and realization. Perhaps for the first time, he began to see his father for who he truly was, a revelation that seemed to shake him to his core. With a determined gaze fixed on Justin, my mom stepped forward. Not only do we understand, but we have evidence, emails, recordings. You've been planning to launder money through a laundromat, and you're associating yourself with a known criminal. Martha's history speaks volumes, and your intentions for this business are crystal clear. Justin's attempts to maintain innocence were crumbling rapidly. You have no idea what you're getting into. This is my livelihood, my business. You can't just intrude and... But we can, and we will, I interrupted, reinforcing my mom's stance. This isn't solely about your business, Justin. It's about our safety, our lives. You've introduced danger and illegality into our home, and we won't allow you to jeopardize everything for your own selfish motives. The evidence was undeniable. The audio recordings of conversations between Justin and Michael, the emails detailing their plans, and now their admissions made it impossible for Justin to deny any longer. With the camera still recording, every word, denial, and excuse was captured, trying to close in on him with no escape route. You think you're clever, recording this to gather evidence, Justin sneered, his composure slipping further. You might think you've won, but we're not just thinking, Justin. We're certain, my mom interrupted, her tone resolute and unyielding. What you've done is not only morally wrong, but illegal. You've put this family in danger, abused my trust, and now you're going to face the consequences. As the confrontation reached its peak, Michael finally found his voice, barely above a whisper. Dad, how could you? It was a question heavy with betrayal and disillusionment directed at the man he once admired. The room fell silent, the seriousness of the situation sinking in. Justin, stripped of his usual confidence, seemed to shrink in front of us. The game was clearly over. My mom's course of action was clear. Legal proceedings, separation, and ensuring the safety of our family. As we left Justin to face the consequences of his actions, my mom and I knew the journey ahead wouldn't be easy. However, armed with the truth and evidence, we were prepared to confront whatever challenges lay ahead together. The veil of deception had been lifted, revealing a newfound strength and unity between us, ready to rebuild and move forward. I have no idea what you're insinuating. Why not call Martha? Maybe she can clarify things. Justin attempted to deflect, his panic thinly veiled by his tone. You two seem convinced you got it all figured out. Martha is just a friend, he insisted, though his confidence was visibly diminishing. The incriminating photo we discovered suggests otherwise. I countered, my voice steady despite the turmoil within. And honestly, who conducts affairs via email these days? It's incredibly reckless. Justin, now visibly flustered, retorted, you invaded my privacy. That's outrageous. No, Justin, what's truly outrageous is you, my mom interrupted, her voice filled with righteous indignation. How dare you repeatedly threaten my daughter over money that rightfully belongs to her? How dare you use intimidation to try to kick her out of her own home? Your actions are unforgivable. How dare you drag your son into your reckless schemes, putting him in harm's way, and your audacity to plan illegal activities with that money is beyond belief. Now, when it's time to face the consequences, you suddenly go silent, she continued, her words slicing through the tension like a knife. Cornered and desperate, Justin lashed out, get that camera out of my face. As he lunged towards me in blind fury, I swiftly dodged his attack, his aggressive move only underscoring the seriousness of the situation. Now you're thinking of attacking my daughter? Do you have any idea how much trouble you're in? My mom exclaimed, her voice a mixture of disbelief and anger. Defiant to the end, Justin sneered, you think you know what's going on? You know nothing. Well, let's see if the police agree with you. They should be here any minute now, I declared, watching closely for his reaction. Police? You wouldn't dare, he blustered, but his bravado crumbled as the sound of approaching sirens grew louder. Justin's usual smugness vanished, replaced by pure terror. It was the first time I'd witnessed him without his facade, revealing the coward beneath. Save your excuses for the judge, you despicable man. My mom shot back with a disgust that brooked no argument. And Michael, don't think you're exempt from accountability. You both will face the repercussions of your actions. With the police arriving, it was evident that this signaled the beginning of the end for Justin's schemes. My mom's resolute declaration hung in the air, marking a significant moment of justice for us. This should serve as a lesson about disrespecting my daughter and me. You're old enough to know right from wrong, and it's time to face the music, my mom asserted, her tone unwavering yet fair. Yes, Mom, I understand, I acknowledged, recognizing that I had overstepped and needed to confront the consequences of my actions. Come on, Grace, don't you think this is a bit extreme? Justin attempted to argue, hoping for some leniency. Quite the opposite. This is just the tip of the iceberg, my mom countered firmly. Emma, how's our live stream going? My mom asked, adding a modern twist to ensuring transparency and justice. We've got over 5,000 viewers tuning in. This is making waves, I informed her, astonished at the digital audience we had attracted. Just to be crystal clear, my mom turned to Justin, her voice steady, I want a divorce. That's right, folks, she declared, ensuring the livestream captured every word. The aftermath of the livestream was seismic. Over 5,000 witnesses watched as the drama unfolded in real time, and the story quickly spread to local newspapers and tabloids. Being at the epicenter of this whirlwind felt surreal, witnessing the swift downfall of Justin, my soon-to-be ex-stepfather, and his accomplice, Michael. The sense of satisfaction from seeing justice prevail was tangible. Justin's life crumbled as he lost his job, friends, and even some family members who chose to distance themselves. With serious charges looming, Justin faced the prospect of up to 22 years behind bars if found guilty. Meanwhile, Martha, his partner in crime, was also apprehended by the police after trying to lay low during the scandal. She too faced uncertain prospects ahead. Despite the chaos, my mom and I found solace in each other. Our bond strengthened as we weathered the storm together, emerging resilient on the other side. Weekends became moments of relaxation on the patio, sipping drinks and reflecting on the absurdity and malevolence of Justin's actions. It was a time of healing and reaffirmation for both of us. Good riddance, we toasted, sharing a sentiment of relief and closure. Indeed, good riddance. I once had a fiancé named Mike whom I promised to marry, but I couldn't live with him because of my sister Evelyn. During that time, I was deeply distraught. However, I've since found new happiness. It's important for both my sister and my ex-fiancé to understand this. My name is Emma. I'm an ordinary office worker, not particularly beautiful. Back then, I was engaged to Mike, a handsome man at a prominent company known for his looks. We were blissful, believing our happiness would endure. Yet reality dealt a harsh blow. I couldn't marry Mike because of Evelyn. My sister Evelyn has been passionate about fashion since childhood and remains so today. Her beauty has always attracted attention. She was popular with boys since junior high. She even modeled for a fashion magazine once, an experience that fueled her dream of becoming a model. After university, when I started working at a regular company, I was invited to dinner by a business associate, Mike. After several friendly outings, one day he confessed his feelings for me during dinner. I was taken aback by his sudden confession but also drawn to him. Thus, we began dating. A year into our relationship, Mike proposed, and I happily accepted. When Mike and I visited my parents to share the news, they were overjoyed. We discussed wedding plans, and I was thrilled. However, someone was not pleased, my sister Evelyn. Evelyn was shocked and displeased to see me getting married, especially to someone like Mike. More beautiful and more experienced in relationships, she had always looked down on me. I don't want my friends to know how uncool my sister is, Evelyn often said. To her, the uncle's sister she looked down on was about to marry an elite businessman from a major company. This seemed to amplify Evelyn's pride even more. However, I was oblivious to Evelyn's true feelings. Looking back, I should have noticed her attitude at the time. Suddenly, Evelyn asked Mike, "If you're going to be my brother-in-law, can we exchange contact information?" Mike and I saw no reason to refuse, so we agreed happily. There were days when I worked late on handover tasks, planning to quit my job. One day, while my parents were out of town on a trip, Evelyn took action, a plan she must have devised from the beginning. She called Mike over to her house. "Mike, my sister suddenly came home because she got sick. My parents are out on a trip, and I'm scared to be alone. Can you come over?" Evelyn lied, claiming I had returned early due to illness. Mike, just about to leave work, rushed over, unaware of Evelyn's intentions. I heard Emma was suddenly sick, so I rushed over. "Where's Emma?" Mike asked upon arriving. Of course, I wasn't there. Naturally, Mike assumed as much. "I'm sorry, Mike. I lied to you. My sister isn't actually sick. She's still at work," Evelyn confessed. Instead of getting angry, Mike asked calmly, "Why did you lie?" I just really needed to talk to you, Mike," Evelyn began to explain. When I finished work and returned home, I was taken aback to see Mike there, though I greeted him casually, not expecting anything. "Oh, you're here," I said carelessly. Little did I know, I was about to face the greatest despair and sadness of my life. "Emma, I'm sorry. I think we should break up," Mike said suddenly. His words were incomprehensible to me at first. "What? Are you kidding? Break up? What do you mean?" I asked in confusion, trying to grasp the situation. Just then, Evelyn appeared. "Emma, the truth is, I'm dating Evelyn. I'm sorry, but I fell in love with her more than with you," Mike confessed. Still bewildered and unable to believe it, I stood there as Evelyn spoke up. "I'm sorry, but Mike and I are planning to get married," Evelyn declared matter-of-factly. I couldn't comprehend what was happening. Evelyn continued, "You might not want to come to our wedding, but please at least come to the reception." I felt my world crumbling. My fiancé had chosen Evelyn over me, and suddenly, I wasn't wanted anymore. For a while, both my father and mother were deeply concerned. I spent days locked in my room, unable to face the world. Having already resigned from my job, I found myself with nothing to do. My colleagues from work messaged me about the wedding plans, and I simply informed them that we were planning a small family-only ceremony. Months later, I found myself in a new and unfamiliar place, ready to start afresh. I was determined to find happiness again, this time for certain. After isolating myself for a while following the breakup with Mike, a newfound determination stirred within me. "Why do I have to go through this? I'll forget about that man and start anew," I resolved. Things progressed swiftly from there. I discussed my plans with my parents, and with their support, I decided to move out and live independently. My new home was in a serene and green environment, offering tranquility that helped me heal. My parents didn't stand in my way. Instead, they supported me wholeheartedly during the move. As I settled in and took a breather from unpacking, my mother finally shared some news with me. A few days after you retreated to your room, Mike came. I listened to everything about what had transpired between you and Mike, and then she apologized at the end. I didn't understand why my parents were apologizing. Of course, what Mike did is unforgivable, I said firmly. His parents came to apologize too, even kneeling down to express their regret. But then they brought up Evelyn. We know you can't forgive her, but Evelyn is our precious daughter too, my parents explained. Both my father and mother had been deeply troubled by the events. It's only natural that they could not forgive someone like him after what he did to their daughter, my parents continued, trying to justify their stance. Despite my parents' stern words to Evelyn, it seemed she had gone to see Mike. Since then, Mike had been visiting our house every day at the same time, apologizing and pleading for acceptance of his marriage to Evelyn. Reluctantly, my parents had no choice but to relent to Mike's persistence. That's why they apologized to me for accepting their marriage, I concluded quietly. Honestly, I had stopped caring, but I understood my parents' conflicted feelings all too well. It's all over now, and that's okay. Besides, I'm going to meet someone even more wonderful from now on, I assured them, trying to stay positive despite the tears threatening to fall. My mother was in tears and my father looked remorseful, but he managed to smile in response. I said to my parents, when I have a child, I'll rely on both of you a lot. If anything happens, don't overdo it and contact us right away. My mother looked very worried. Once I settled into my new life and found some peace of mind, I started working in a certain restaurant. It was a small place with just a few employees, but it had a bright atmosphere that I really enjoyed. Everyone there was friendly. The manager, Noah, always seemed to be the target of teasing from the part-timers. It was amusing to watch and added to the peaceful vibe of the place. A few months into my job, a fateful event occurred that would impact my future. It happened after closing time when Noah offered me a ride home and confessed his feelings for me. I was torn. Noah is a genuinely good person and his kindness shines through. He's also popular among women due to his attractive personality and looks. However, I couldn't shake the fear of being abandoned again, haunted by past experiences. Perhaps sensing my uncertainty, Noah assured me he didn't need an immediate answer and left it at that. Things were a bit awkward between us for a while. Yet the usual banter with the part-timers and Noah's kind demeanor helped me ease my worries. Maybe my heart had already made its decision. It was during this time that, during a break, I learned something about Noah that surprised me deeply. It turned out that Noah had experienced betrayal from someone he deeply cared about and had endured a traumatic incident at his previous workplace. Noah and I shared a common past of being hurt by those we loved. That day, I decided to walk home with Noah to hear his story. As we strolled together, Noah opened up about his previous job where he had managed a store. Due to an unfortunate incident, the store lost credibility and had to shut down. Noah took responsibility and was subsequently fired. After listening to his story, I felt compelled to share my reasons for working at the current restaurant. No, I began. I came here because... Upon hearing my explanation, Noah nodded understandingly. You did well, he said softly, offering words that warmed my heart. It was exactly what I needed to hear. Acknowledgement that despite hardships, my efforts were valued. I've faced betrayal too, I admitted, recalling my own difficult journey. It wasn't easy. Noah smiled warmly in response. Later that day, Noah confessed something to me. This is how I am, he said, but I hope we can get along well. Encouraged by his honesty, I replied, let's do our best together. From then on, I found myself teased more than ever by the part-timers at the shop, but I was genuinely happy. Days passed, filled with laughter and camaraderie. Then, unexpectedly, I received a second proposal in my life. Of course, I accepted Noah's proposal with a resolve to find happiness, believing in our future together. When I visited my parents for the first time in a while, they were overjoyed. I shared everything with them, and they expressed their happiness, urging Noah, please make our daughter happy. I will definitely make Emma happy, Noah replied confidently. We spent some time together. But then my father hesitantly mentioned, "It seems Evelyn and Mike are planning a wedding ceremony. They might send an invitation, but you don't have to force yourself." But I was past caring about Evelyn and Mike. I was happy now, and I wanted to share the happiness. When I told my parents this, they said, "If you say so, Emma. No, we're counting on you if anything happens." A few days later, I received a wedding invitation from Evelyn. Of course, I decided to attend and replied that Noah and I would be coming together. Knowing Evelyn was planning her wedding, Noah and I had already registered our marriage. We felt it would ease the burden on our parents and relatives from having multiple wedding ceremonies. We promised ourselves a celebration once things settled down. On the day of Evelyn's wedding, Noah and I arrived together at the venue. It was a long-awaited reunion with Evelyn and Mike, but Mike appeared somewhat worn out. During the family introductions, I proudly introduced Noah to Mike, saying, "This is my husband, Noah. He is my pride and joy." Evelyn's surprised expression when I introduced Noah was quite memorable. As the event unfolded, I had a strong urge to ask Mike about what had transpired between him and Evelyn on the day my parents and I were absent. At first, Mike seemed hesitant to talk about it, but gradually he opened up. He recounted how Evelyn, aware of my illness that day, had seized the opportunity. She brought strong alcohol and offered it to Mike, who wasn't used to drinking. After just a couple of cups, he became intoxicated. Taking advantage of his state, Evelyn began to seduce him. Mike, impaired by alcohol and unable to think clearly, succumbed to the temptation. Evelyn is attractive with a good figure, Mike explained, and I was in no state to resist her advances, despite our engagement. He apologized repeatedly, looking remorseful and diminished in my eyes, yet I found myself strangely indifferent. Hearing the truth was enough for me at that moment. Meanwhile, Noah and Evelyn were engaged in their own conversation nearby. I was curious about their discussion, but with Evelyn's wedding ceremony approaching, I decided to inquire later. As we headed home afterward, I asked Noah again, "Didn't you seem a bit angry when you were talking to Evelyn?" "Oh, I told you before, but actually she's the one who cheated on me when we were dating," Noah began, his expression clouded with frustration. "Not only that, but she's also the reason why I was fired from the shop where I used to work." I was taken aback. It's a small world, isn't it? Learning that Evelyn was responsible for Noah's shop closure surprised me even more. Intrigued, I asked him for more details. As Noah explained, Evelyn had begun an affair with a designer shortly after they started dating. She believed it would benefit her modeling career to be associated with someone in the industry. Noah found out about it accidentally, I learned, and naturally, he confronted Evelyn. But instead of admitting fault, Evelyn lashed out at Noah, and they broke up. Fueled by anger, Evelyn retaliated by creating a fake photo of contaminated food supposedly from Noah's restaurant and posted it on social media. With her substantial following as an amateur model, the photo quickly went viral. The negative publicity led to a drop in sales, Noah continued, and ultimately, the shop had to close. I was blamed and fired. Noah's bitterness was palpable, but without knowing the true culprit, he had nowhere to direct his anger. It wasn't until a friend invited me for a drink, Noah recounted, that I learned about a conversation linking Evelyn to the demise of a restaurant due to false social media claims. Realizing Evelyn's betrayal and role in his downfall, Noah felt powerless. He decided to start anew in a different place, where fate eventually brought us together. I apologized to Noah, deeply troubled by my sister's actions that had upended his life. "I'm sorry for what my sister did," I said, unsure of how he would react. "I didn't know what to do. I thought you might hate me." "No, Emma," Noah reassured me kindly. "It's in the past. It's not your fault." His forgiveness lifted a weight off my shoulders, and together we resolved to pursue happiness once more. Later, Evelyn faced her comeuppance. She chose our current residence for a photo shoot, aiming to bolster her modeling aspirations with a gravure session amidst its lush greenery. Little did she know, the restaurant she selected for a meal during this visit was Noah's former establishment. Although I had already left Noah's employ by then, I heard about what transpired later. Upon recognizing each other, Noah firmly denied Evelyn entry into his restaurant. "I can't allow you in," Noah stated firmly to Evelyn and the photo shoot staff, citing her past actions and the repercussions he had endured. Stunned and pale, Evelyn had no retort. Noah even threatened to expose her past to the company president where she was about to join. which ultimately led to her losing the Gravier shoot deal and tarnishing her reputation in the industry. Furthermore, news came that Mike's company performance had faltered, putting him at risk of demotion. Even my mother expressed concern for their uncertain futures. Despite these events, Noah and I continued to find happiness in each other every day. Today marks our long-awaited wedding day, a testament to our perseverance through adversity. As we celebrated, colleagues from the restaurant where we first met congratulated us, repeating a familiar line amidst laughter. Noah and I solemnly vowed before everyone to cherish our family and uphold our happiness, now and always. My discovery shook me to the core. My husband was having an affair. Luxury brand gifts were being showered upon his mistress, all paid for with my credit card. For the sake of our son, I endured silently, but the weight became unbearable. I knew I had to take action. Unexpectedly, the person who came to my aid was the last one I imagined. I am Alexa, 35 years old, married to Austin for a decade. Our son Drake turned 8 this year. With a passion for writing, I turned novelist, fulfilling the lifelong dream. My debut mystery novel found success, leading to regular serialization and a busy schedule. Initially, Austin worked, but he quit when my writing became profitable. For the past few years, he spent his days idly, occasionally gambling. So when he dressed in a suit one day, claiming a job interview, I sensed something awry. "Why the suit?" I asked, catching him off guard. He hesitated before saying, "I have an interview." "For what?" "A job," he replied, a bit too quickly. Wishing him luck, I let him go, believing in his intention to change for our family's future. Yet when he returned at 1 a.m., reeking of alcohol and perfume, asleep on the sofa with his unlocked phone in hand, my curiosity overwhelmed me. I couldn't resist the urge to peek into my husband's smartphone. What's this?" I couldn't believe my eyes. It was undeniable. My husband was cheating. Even more shocking was his affair with my close friend, Ashley. They had been to a luxurious restaurant known for its stunning night views. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. No way. Austin and Ashley. Why? Ashley had a husband too. I had trusted them both. Confronted with this unexpected truth, tears welled up uncontrollably. I tried to stifle my sobs, not wanting to wake Austin. But I needed evidence. Quietly, I transferred proof of the affair to my own phone, unsure of what to do next. The next morning, Austin acted as if nothing had happened. "Hey, Austin, about yesterday," I began cautiously. "Yesterday," he replied casually. "You mean when I said I had an interview but came home late?" I couldn't help but wonder what had really happened. My husband averted his eyes as if searching for an excuse. "Well, actually I ran into a friend after the interview, so we ended up grabbing a drink." "A friend? Who?" "Someone you don't know. I don't have to explain everything, do I?" "Yeah, you're right." As expected, my husband concealed his meeting with Ashley. His demeanor made it clear he was having an affair. 1 month after discovering his infidelity, I remained uncertain of my next steps. I hadn't confronted him yet. I couldn't bring myself to. If I did, I knew it would spell the end of our marriage. If it were just me, I would have presented the evidence and filed for divorce immediately. But I couldn't bear to take Drake's father away from him. He was only 8 years old. During my confinement to our room, working away, Austin began going out more frequently. Yet this gave me a chance. I resolved to gather evidence of his affair while he was out. Searching through his belongings, I found several unfamiliar receipts. Apparently, he had purchased luxury items for women, but of course, those items were nowhere to be found in our room. I hadn't received those gifts from him either. There was only one explanation. Austin was giving Ashley those branded items. But where was he getting the money for that? He had been unemployed for some time, relying solely on the allowance I gave him each month. He shouldn't have had any savings left. Curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to confront my husband. In the meantime, I called my brother over and asked him to look after my son. Of course, my brother was unaware of Austin's affair, so I fabricated a reason. "Sorry for calling you over so suddenly." "No problem, but what's going on? You said you need me to look after Drake." "Well, actually, there's something I really need to shop for alone." "Shopping? You're not usually so materialistic. You usually shop online." "I know, but today I need to buy something that's only available in store. Can you watch Drake for me?" Sure, but don't be too late. Drake will miss you. Thanks, I'll be quick. With my brother's help, I managed to tail Austin. Soon enough, I caught him walking arm in arm with my best friend, Ashley. Witnessing it firsthand was a shock despite my suspicions. They entered a luxury brand store together, and then I saw something unbelievable. No way, are you kidding me? That's my credit card. Indeed, the card my husband was using to pay for their shopping spree belonged to me, a secondary card I often used. Normally, I kept my main credit card in my wallet, but the secondary card had been left in my drawer. Without my permission, my husband had taken it to pay for Ashley's gifts. Over the past few months, I had made significant purchases for work, monitors, keyboards, even furniture, using that card. The accumulated expenses were substantial. Both cards shared the same bank account, and with my hectic schedule, I hadn't checked the card details recently. It had come back to haunt me. I couldn't believe it. Not only was he cheating, but he was also using my money without my knowledge. My love for him evaporated instantly. I blamed myself for not paying closer attention, but even so, forgiveness was out of the question. I gathered ample evidence, snapping countless photos of them together, before returning home in a daze. For the next few days, I obsessed over ways to retaliate against my husband. Whenever he was out, I meticulously combed through his PC. His smartphone and PC were since making it easy to scrutinize his exchanges with Ashley. Eventually, I discovered they were planning a trip during the upcoming holidays, a 4-day getaway. This is my chance, I thought grimly. I decided to exact my revenge during the same time as my husband's affair trip. However, there was one major obstacle, our son. Completing my revenge plan without Drake finding out about his father's affair would be challenging. So, once again, I turned to my brother for help. I hate to ask, but could you look after Drake during the upcoming holidays? The holidays? You mean all 4 days? Yes, I have something important to take care of. Something important, huh? My brother replied with a knowing tone. His words made me uneasy. Alexa, stop trying to handle everything on your own. What do you mean? Austin's cheating, isn't he? How did you? I heard it from Drake. What? Drake? My young son had somehow sensed his father's affair, despite his tender age. He might not have fully understood the situation, but he knew his father's closeness to someone other than me was hurting me deeply. I thought I was hiding it so well from Drake. Why? It means Austin's actions are hurting you enough for Drake to notice, my brother reasoned. Are you really going to stay with someone who hurts you like this? But if I divorce Austin, Drake will be devastated. Just then, as if on cue, Drake appeared from the next room. It's okay, Mom. I'm on your side. Drake, are you sure? I don't need anyone who makes Mom sad. As long as I have Mom, it's okay. Thank you, Drake, and thank you too, brother. With the support of my son and brother, I resolved to seek revenge on my husband without hesitation. On the day my husband planned to leave for his affair trip, Drake and I quietly packed our belongings. My brother assisted us covertly while my husband was away. The night before his departure, I decided to give him one last chance. Austin, what's with the suitcase? Why are you packing? Oh, this? I'm going on a trip with some friends starting tomorrow. A trip? You never mentioned that. It was a sudden plan. It's not a big deal. I'll cover it with my monthly allowance. My husband exuded an aura of don't talk to me, clearly avoiding further inquiry. But I was undeterred. In a tone rarely used, I confronted him softly yet firmly. Hey, are you sure it's just with your friends? He visibly panicked, his shoulders tensing. Still, he clung desperately to his lie. Of course, you've been quite persistent, haven't you? All right. I understand. Enjoy your trip with your friends. I was going to enjoy it even if you didn't tell me to. Just don't get too carried away, all right? With that, I left my husband's room. Honestly, if he had just told me the truth, I might have considered an amicable separation, seeking alimony and child support. Despite his betrayal, he was someone I once loved deeply. His support had sustained me during times when my novels didn't sell. I didn't want to harbor true hatred or resentment towards him, but given what had transpired, I couldn't afford to be lenient anymore. For the sake of my son and my own future, I had to bring an end to our relationship. There was no reason for me to hold back now, not after discovering his persistent lies. The next morning, my husband had already left for his trip. I opened the drawer and confirmed that he had taken my credit card as expected. Immediately, I contacted the bank, reported the card as lost, and requested it be deactivated. My son woke up and I greeted him with a cheerful good morning. Mom, it's today, right? Ha! The move. We're going to our new house today, right? Looking at my son's bright smile, any lingering anxiety inside me vanished. Oh, Drake, you're right. I've already stopped the credit card, so let's move to our new home. Yeah, I can't wait for our new place. With my brother's help, our move went smoothly. Our belongings, along with my son's, were settled in our new home, while my husband's things were sent elsewhere the next day. As I relaxed in our new home with my son and brother, my husband called. Hello. Oh, Alexa. What is it? Well, actually, this trip is costing more than I expected. Could you possibly transfer me some money? He was probably struggling to pay for things on his trip because I had frozen the credit card. His indirect request for money disgusted me. Didn't you say you were going within your own budget? Sorry, but I don't have any money to lend you. Oh, don't be like that. If you don't help me, I'll be the only one not enjoying the trip. You mean both of you, right? To that, my husband seemed dumbfounded. Ha! After all, you're on a trip. You want to show Ashley only the good parts, right? But sorry, the card you took is no longer valid. You'll have to manage on your own. What are you talking about, Alexa? In the card. Pretending not to know is pointless. You're panicking too much. Because you're saying nonsensical things. I don't know anything about a card. Enough. I already know you've been cheating on me with my best friend, Ashley. What? Did you really think I had no idea? Are you that dense? It's obvious. No, this isn't what you think. I'm not cheating. I was furious that my husband kept trying to make excuses. Not caring that my brother and son were next to me, I unleashed all the anger I had been holding back. Stop making excuses. You had a family and you had an affair with another woman. On top of that, using someone else's card. Do you realize how despicable your actions have been? Alexa, let's calm down for now. Huh? There's no way I can stay calm when I'm dealing with the person I hate the most in the world. Don't you think? And just so you know, I have no intention of forgiving you or helping you. You and the woman you're with can go to hell for all I care. Never show your face to Drake and me again. Saying that, I hung up on my husband. Then his mistress, Ashley, called me. Hey Alexa, what the hell did you do? Ashley, long time no see. How's the trip with my husband? Shut up. Explain yourself. What are you talking about? Don't play dumb. You sent Austin's belongings to my house, didn't you? Yes, indeed. When we moved, I sent my husband's belongings to Ashley. But Ashley is a married woman, so of course her husband is at home. That's exactly why I sent all of Austin's belongings to her house, including a long letter explaining everything. She screamed at me over the phone, her voice breaking. This isn't a joke. What did he do? My husband found out, and now he's furious. Well, it serves you right for having an affair while being married. You're supposed to be my friend. This is low. I misjudged you. Excuse me, that's my line. My best friend was having an affair with my husband, you know. How can I forgive that? Who was rude first, huh? I wasn't serious, it was just for fun. There's no way I'd settle for a jobless loser like him. I don't care whether you were serious or not. I'm about to get a divorce anyway. You did have an affair, and that's a fact. I will never forgive you. I will demand a lot of compensation, so brace yourself. Compensation? What's that? I didn't hear anything about that. Well, of course you did. What you deserve. Wait, I'm a housewife. I can't pay any compensation. I don't care. Either figure it out yourself or beg your husband. Well, I doubt that would work though. Oh wait, Alexa, hey, wait. Goodbye. I hung up without listening to her and blocked her number. Afterward, I finalized my divorce through my lawyer and demanded compensation from my ex-husband and Ashley. Alongside child support, I insisted on repayment for the credit card charges he made without my consent. Due to the debts from paying compensation, Ashley's husband demanded a divorce and she was kicked out of their home. She attempted to rely on her parents, but they turned her away given the circumstances. Now, she lives where she works and does night jobs at a bar. Austin tried to lean on Ashley, but she was furious because she had to divorce him. She promptly cut ties with my ex-husband, ending their relationship. Currently, my ex-husband works multiple part-time jobs and lives paycheck to paycheck. After being unemployed for so long, Finding a stable job won't be easy for him. If he ever falls behind in alimony or child support payments, I intend to pursue him for the owed amount by any means necessary. As for me, I'm living peacefully in a new home with my son. His growth is remarkable, and every day is truly exciting. I aim to continue giving him lots of love, ensuring he never experiences